But what makes the DTX6 range of kits really special is the module. The DTX-PRO module is very, very different from everything that Yamaha has made before. It's much more powerful, has many more features, and it sounds fantastic. On the back, we have up to 14 pad inputs. We have the master left and right outputs. We have USB, and we have a MIDI out. On the front of the module, we have a 1/4 inch headphone jack and a mini jack auxiliary input. The triggering on the DTX-PRO is much better than anything which Yamaha has done before. It's faster, it's much more dynamic, it gives me a bigger dynamic range, and also it has a much higher polyphony. It has 256 note polyphony, and the sounds themselves for the module were recorded in some of the best studios in Europe. Great care was taken to capture the whole sound from the first stick impact to the very last vibration of the instrument. And as well as the actual sound of the drums, the actual rooms that they were recorded in was also captured, and we can add this into the sound for extra realism. When Yamaha were developing this, they looked at how drummers were using their electronic kits. If you go back 5 or 6 years, most drummers who were using electronic kits were using the internal sounds of their electronic kits. But over the last few years, more and more drummers have started to use plugins or VSTs instead of the internal drum sounds on their kits. VSTs are big libraries of drum sounds which run in a computer and are triggered by an electronic kit, and they can sound very realistic, but they take up a lot of space, and if you're going to use them live, you need to run a computer. Drummers connect their module to their computer with a USB cable, they'd run the software on their laptops, then they'd go via USB into an audio interface, and then they'd go from the audio interface into the PA or headphones. But this obviously used a lot more equipment. And Yamaha wanted to offer something which meant that drummers didn't have to take laptops on stage, which is where the DTX-PRO comes in. Normally, when we record drums in the studio, we have our drums, we record the sounds with the microphones, then we can change the EQ of the sound, the transient control, which is the attack or the release, so how much attack they have. We can soften it or give them more attack to make it sound more aggressive. And then the release, we can make the sound shorter or longer. Then we can add ambience, so natural room space. And then we can add compression to bring up the volume. Then we can add mastering effects. And then that gives us our final recorded or sampled sound. But in a lot of kits, including the DTX502, which this replaces, the sounds were already sampled with effects on. Then if we were lucky, we could add some ambience or some reverb, and that gave us our recorded sound. And this is how a lot of electronic drum kits work. But with the DTX6, we start off with a nice big library of really good acoustic sounds recorded in really nice studios. Then we can change the EQ, we can adjust the transient control, we can adjust the ambience, and then the compression and the mastering effects, and we can come up with a completely unique to us sound, starting off with really good drum samples, and then we can change it how we want to change it. So how we use this module is like this. We have our natural drum sound, and we don't have to do anything with it. But if we do, we can add effects in lots of different ways, and that gives us our finished drum sound. The DTX-PRO module has 200 user kits, and it has 40 factory preset kits, but you can save everything to a USB drive, so you can have limitless kits. If you want 2,000 different drum kits, you can do it with this module.